my sister-in-law is visiting Los Angeles from Korea. And so we've been doing a lot of touristy things. Today, my wife and my sister-in-law visited the Getty Museums. I had some clients today, so I could not make it. And when they came back, they told me that they saw a group of elementary school kids having a field trip to the Getty. And that just seeing that caused the reaction of, oh wow, I wish my childhood was like that. I wish I was white, and I wish my elementary school field trips were to this really cultured place. That was my sister-in-law's reaction, right? And keep in mind that my sister-in-law is purely Korean, has never lived in America. But the thing is, for me too, I've been living in America for like the majority of my life, and yet I thought, wow, what a cool childhood to have compared to mine. Um, I was raised in I was born in like, or my early days was in this port city in Korea called Busan. It's like the one of the most southern parts of Korea, and field trips for me was like to this regional field, so to speak. It's called Ilsukdo, and that's it. It's just a field and some body of water, and that field was like the field trip destination for all the elementary schools, all the middle schools in the area. I never went to high school in Korea, so I don't know where high school kids go to field trips there, but basically it's all the same experience. And like the activities that we did there were so mundane compared to going to the Getty. And so this caused the interesting like thought reaction, right? So yes, if you have a privileged life, if you're born in the United States, you have a privileged life compared to a lot of other countries. And if you were born into like a wealthy generational kind of a wealth kind of a family, your life is very privileged. If you're born a certain race, you're probably privileged. For example, like being Korean and being Filipino doesn't really make a big difference in America, but if you are a Korean and Koreans can be pretty racist and you view Filipinos there, then you're gonna be treated really bad. And so, like, depending on where you're at, your race can play a factor, and your dialect can play a factor. For example, my dialect in Korean is like, I have a really thick like dialect, but it's kind of the majority dialect. So a lot of people, including me, don't even bother to fix it. But a lot of people from other regions in Korea feel really ostracized when they speak in their natural dialect. So when they interact in a social environment, they're forced to change how they speak, right? So privilege is across everywhere, not just the United States, not just Korea, like it's everywhere, right? But the thing is, what's really what I want to address about privilege is that we tend to think that, oh, I need to be in this privileged class in order to be happy, right? In order for me to have a really fulfilling life. So if I'm not in a privileged race, my starting point is already kind of low. So I need to work up towards something that I can be privileged with. So for example, if I go to a university, a prestigious one, then I can have that privilege compared to not having one. Okay, so while my race is behind, I can be kind of even in that privilege. And so we try to work up the ladders of privilege so that we can have a good life. Because when you are a Korean like suffering, can't even speak that good English, no business, and you just immigrated to the United States, and you see young American people just like having the time of their lives, you're like, oh, if I was them, I would be super happy, right? So this kind of thinking of I need to be in this privileged section of the life in order to feel happy is ultimately what we keep passing down the generations. So even when I was growing up, um, my parents didn't really tell me that I needed to have this like prestige as a, like I need to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. But I've heard it so many different times from school, from extracurricular activities, from like my taekwondo gym of all places. And I'm sure you have an experience of like you have to be something. You have to basically reach some level of prestige in order for you to be happy. And that's really not the case, right? You can be happy while being a Korean. You can be happy while being an African American person. You can be happy as a transgender person. Like, but does that mean like everything's gonna be easy? Like being happy is gonna be easy for you? No. But at the same time, it's not impossible, right? So, what is the message that we want to pass on to our children? Is it that, hey, I suffered because I'm not this privileged class. Therefore, you need to be that in order to be happy. Is that the message that we want to keep bringing down to our next generation? Or is it more that, hey, the world right now is unfair? The world right now is a lot easier if you are a certain something something. But I really want you to know that that's not the ultimate marker of happiness. Yes, you are not a privileged race. Yes, you are not a privileged economic class. Yes, you don't live in a privileged region in your country. But that doesn't mean you cannot be happy. And I want you to remember that. I think that should be the message that we pass on to our generation. So that, yeah, what if I go to a field trip that seems pointless? I had a lot of fun. And it was a very fulfilling experience for me spiritually because I had a very peaceful time. Yes, so what if I'm not a full American born in America? I still have parts of my experience that make my life unique and that make my life fulfilling in a unique way. So, um, yeah, all this from one observation of a field trip, but I want you to remember, yes, life can be very hard if you don't have a lot of privileges. But even if you are privileged, there's a high chance that you might not be happy. And if you're not privileged, that doesn't mean you cannot be happy. And if you want to take steps for you to be happy, we can get started on that. If you think there are things in your life that are preventing you from being happy, we can discover that. Email me at billy@julylifecoach.com. I don't charge for solving life problems. Email me to get started. See you in the next video.